It's June 9th, 2010. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final is taking place between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Philadelphia Flyers. They'll still have to win at Game 7 in Chicago. It's a 3-3 tie in the first overtime, meaning this has been a moderate offensive explosion with some decent defense and goaltending squeeze in between this hockey contest. This is a huge game for Blackhawks fans, as their favorite hockey team has been a laughingstock in the Western Conference for most of the previous decade. For the Flyers, they're looking to bring back Stanley Cup glory to the city of brotherly love for the first time since the 1970s. To truly understand the importance of what happens next, we need to hit that left button on the VCR. In other words, we need to rewind. The Blackhawks are an overtime goal away from cementing their legacy in NHL history. But for a franchise who used to not even televise its home games, this seemed like a pipe dream even 5 years ago. Known for his severe cheapness, Blackhawks former owner Bill Wirtz decided to cancel all home broadcast agreements with network and cable television outlets in 1992. According to Wirtz and the Wirtz Corporation as a whole, home broadcasts were, quote, unfair to the team's season ticket holders, unquote. And as crazy as this decision was by Wirtz, fan attendance increased during the mid-1990s. Incredibly, without normal home broadcasts and overall television brand awareness about the team, the Hawks averaged over 19,300 fans during the mid-1990s at the United Center. This is how it worked. WGN and other media outlets couldn't broadcast the Blackhawks games at the United Center. But if a national broadcasting network such as ESPN decided to telecast the game, a Blackhawk fan could purchase HawkVision, a subscription network worth $29.99 per month. Then you could watch the ESPN broadcast of Blackhawks vs. Red Wings at the United Center on normal cable television. It was pretty confusing, to be sure, and as you know, the internet wasn't big back then. If you were a big hockey fan and wanted to know about the Blackhawks, you either had to go to the game or wait for the hockey highlight on SportsCenter. Even then, hockey coverage wasn't big on ESPN, so it was in your best interest to purchase a ticket at the UC. So the fans kept supporting the Blackhawks even though they couldn't watch their favorite team on TV. However, the product on the ice wasn't so great. As if it were a curse from the hockey gods, the Hawks kept finding different ways to choke in the playoffs. An original six team, the Hawks were at one time the second most cursed original six franchise. The New York Rangers went titleless from 1940 until 1994, and the Hawks now find themselves in the same place as the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs and the Hawks have not hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup since the 1960s decade. For the Hawks, it's been even worse. They haven't won it all since 1961, and before that, Chicago went 23 years without hoisting the Cup. The Maple Leafs have been a borderline disaster since 1967, but at least the Leafs were a dynasty in the 60s. The Hawks were lucky to even win the 1961 Stanley Cup. So yeah, the Hawks have pretty much been mediocre or worse since 1961. However, there were moments when the franchise seemed destined for championship glory. The worst moment for Chicago hockey fans was the 1971 Stanley Cup Final against the hated Montreal Canadiens. Without air conditioning at Old Chicago Stadium, the Hawks were the home team during Game 7 of the Finals against the Canadiens. Jumping out to an early 2-0 lead, legendary netminder Tony Esposito couldn't stop Jacques Lamar's 60-foot-away snapshot, giving the Canadiens their first goal of the contest. Chicago Tribune writer Bob Verdi said there was a humid haze hung over the ice, but Esposito refused to blame the rink's lack of air conditioning on the soft goal he gave up. He had a point, since Lamar's shot was nearly from the center line. The Canadiens never looked back and scored twice more to upset the Hawks and win 3-2 on Chicago's home ice. Since then, the Hawks have never been closer to winning the Cup as they were that day in 1971. That is, until tonight anyway. As painful as it was in 1971, Hawks fans who were still alive in 1992 had to be devastated at what happened next to Ed Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Incredibly, Eddie the Eagle Belfour and Dominik the Dominator Hasek were both on the Blackhawks at the same time. Two future Hall of Fame goalies were both on the Hawks, and yet the franchise still couldn't win a Stanley Cup with either netminder. Belfour was the starter during the brief Belfour-Hasek years. The Hawks made the 1992 Stanley Cup championship round with Belfour and Hasek both on the roster. It was also a Chicago team with Chris Chelios leading the defenseman, and forward Jeremy Roenick was on this Hawks team as well. Led by captain Dirk Graham, the Hawks went on a very impressive winning streak in the playoffs. After falling to a 2-1 series deficit to the St. Louis Blues, the Hawks won their next 3 games against the Blues, as well as back-to-back series sweeps against the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. Just like that, 11 consecutive victories saw the Blackhawks 4 wins away from ending up as the last team standing. the only team in their proverbial way, the NHL's version of the Super Mario Brothers, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr. The Pittsburgh Penguins were the defending Cup champions, and after narrowly beating the Washington Capitals in Game 7 during Round 1, the Pens found their way in the finals thanks to winning 8 of their last 10 games. Hasek was probably Chicago's better goalie entering the playoffs, as the Dominator earned all rookie honors and went 10-4-1 during his 15 starts between the pipes. Between a contract holdout from Belfour and Crazy Eddie missing games this season due to personal reasons, Hasek was turning into a fan favorite, while Belfour was the more controversial choice at net. However, head coach and general manager Mike Keenan stuck with Belfour throughout the playoffs. He turned out to be the best goaltender in the postseason, not named Tom Barrasso. The problem is Barrasso plays for Pittsburgh, so it was up to Roenick and company to find consistent offense against the Eastern Conference's best goalie. It looked like the Hawks had the Pens right where they wanted them when they took a 4-1 lead during Game 1. But the hockey gods haven't liked Chicago since 1961. Whenever the Hawks can blow a postseason lead during crunch time, they like to do it. The Pens scored 4 unanswered goals on their home ice, including the game winner with just 13 seconds left in OT. A crushing 5-4 loss for the Hawks, and they never rebounded from it. It was a sweep for the Pens as the Penguins celebrated their championship victory at Chicago Stadium. Hasek even showed during the series that he still had some raw rookie moments, but Belfour clearly wasn't himself. Hasek subbed in for Belfour in Game 4 after Eddie the Eagle gave up 2 goals on just 4 shots on goal. Keenan had a tough decision to make between keeping Hasek and Belfour, but with Belfour 1 year removed from winning the Vezina and Williams M. Jennings trophies for best goalie, Keenan had no choice but to allow Hasek to become expendable. The Sabres then cashed in on the young goalie's athleticism by fleecing the Hawks with a terrible trade request. The Sabres received a future Hall of Famer in Hasek, and the Blackhawks received just future draft considerations and a goalie in Stefan Beauregard, who never played a single minute in the goalie crease. The future draft considerations eventually led to the Hawks drafting Eric Daze in the 4th round. Daze became an all-star left winger, but serious back and herniated disc issues saw the team's promising winger limited to just 74 games in 3 seasons after his all-star game appearance in 2002. He retired after playing just 1 game in 2005. That being said, Keenan didn't want there to be a locker room controversy between Hasek and Belfour, and it's easy to say in hindsight when no one knew how great Hasek would become. Unfortunately, Belfour wouldn't even finish his career in Chicago. The Hawks were worried that he wouldn't re-sign with the team, so they shipped him off to San Jose for 3 players I personally never heard of until I Googled them: Ulf Dahlin, Michael Sikora, and Chris Terreri. Terreri was put in the very tough position of trying to fill Belfour's shoes in net, and he never got close to reaching Belfour's milestone achievements. Blackhawk fans kept asking themselves, is this team cursed? The 1999 Stanley Cup Final pitted Belfour against Hasek as the Dallas Stars took on the Buffalo Sabres. Belfour eventually won the cup over Hasek in the series, although Hasek won more cups than the Eagle once he began playing for the Red Wings. The Blackhawks managed just 1 more Western Conference Finals appearance with Belfour in net, and they wouldn't get back to the Western Conference Finals until last season. No one ever wishes someone to die, but success seemed to reach the Blackhawks once Bill Wirtz passed away from complications of cancer on September 26, 2007. His son, Rocky Wirtz, took over the team, and during their first season with Rocky as the CEO, the Hawks finished above 500 for the first time in 6 years. With John McDonough as the president and Joel Quenneville as the head coach, the Hawks made it back to the playoffs and finished in the Final Four. The Red Wings once again got in their way and easily took care of the Hawks 4-1 during the 2009 Western Conference Finals. Entering the 2009-10 season, the Hawks decided they need a veteran forward who could score goals and match up against their biggest rival, the Detroit Red Wings. Marian Hossa signed with the Blackhawks, giving the Hawks a formidable 1-2-3 punch on line 1 on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Marian Hossa. That is, if they ever needed to use all 3 guys on the power play. The Hawks were a tough team to beat in 2010, and they finished just 1 point shy of the Western Conference leading Sharks, but the Hawks were the better team in the Western Conference Finals and swept the Sharks to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. Their opponent was an unlikely one, the Philadelphia Flyers. Entering the playoffs as a 7th seed, the Flyers had little title aspirations, but after the top-seeded Capitals were stunned in round 1 to the 8th-seeded Canadiens, there was new hope in Philly. The Flyers looked dead in the water when they trailed 3-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, but Simon Gagne returned for Game 4, and they definitely needed him as Gagne scored in overtime to force a Game 5. Brian Boucher was excellent as the Flyers starting goalie during Game 5, but he had to leave the game early due to knee injuries. As such, Michael Layton finished off Game 5 as the Flyers' new goalie and preserved the 4-0 shutout. Layton then got the start in Game 6 as expected, and he made the most of his opportunity by being perfect through 59 minutes until the Boston Bruins scored late. It was still a 2-1 win for the Flyers, and wouldn't you know it, the Flyers had a chance to win Game 7 and come back from an insurmountable 3-0 deficit. The Bruins actually led 3-0 in Game 7 at the TD Garden in Boston, but they simply couldn't avoid a significantly embarrassing collapse. James Van Riemsdyk, who didn't score a single goal in the playoffs prior to tonight, netted a very important goal late in the first period to give his teammates new life and ending the shutout attempt. The Flyers then scored 3 more unanswered goals to win a surprising 4-3 Game 7 over the Bruins, becoming just the 3rd team in NHL history to come back from a 3-0 series deficit. In fact, this had only been done once in any other American professional sport besides hockey. The Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Yankees 4-3 during the 2004 American League Championship Series. And now the Flyers are back in the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 1997, looking for their first championship since 1975. The 1997 Stanley Cup Final was very interesting since it pitted the Flyers against the Red Wings, with both teams being in the Eastern Time Zone. The Flyers got swept in that series, with fans questioning if the franchise made the right decision all those years ago when they traded for former #1 overall draft pick Eric Lindros. Lindros scored just once in that series against the Red Wings, and it cost the Flyers a lot just to acquire him. They sent the Quebec Nordiques 6 players, 2 first-round picks, and $15 million in cash for only Lindros. The Nordiques eventually moved to Colorado, with the future Hall of Famer in Forsberg helping the Colorado Avalanche win 2 Stanley Cup titles. What did Lindros contribute? Just 1 goal in his lone Stanley Cup final, and his constant bad luck of suffering concussions, he suffered 4 during his career in Philly, inevitably led to him being traded to the New York Rangers. In a weird twist of fate, the Rangers tried to
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. SBS offers live telecasts on Channel 59.3, YouTube, or Twitch. We include pre- and post-game interviews with the players.
You know, it started in the locker room. All the boys were getting going before the game and stuff, and we kind of found a little click at the beginning of the game, so I think that's what got us going.
We also include digital live statistics, play-by-play commentary, team highlight reels, and even more than that. Go online to sportsbroadcastsolutions.com or search Sports Broadcast Solutions on YouTube. SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. At SBS, we offer a professional broadcasting experience for the non-professional athlete. Just like the pros, we offer everything for you. Play-by-play commentary.
A no-hitter at Kane County Stadium. 15 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 error, and that's it.
Color commentary, highlight reels, recruiting videos, and much, much more. Unlike our competitors, we zoom in on the action and always have a live scoreboard with a live time code. If you're ready to have your next sporting event feel like CBS Sports, then make sure to call Sports Broadcast Solutions today. Our phone number is 330-957-7653, or you can go online to sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone. Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Let SBS broadcast your sporting event. We have experience and can generate excitement and permanent digital memories for your team.
Tonight. That time, finally a goal for the Stampede!
We have professional videographers using high-definition modern-day cameras, color analysts, and play-by-play announcers with state-of-the-art, classy graphical scoreboards to keep you updated. Plus, we have commercials to advertise your team, club, or sponsor, and us. Plus, we do pregame and postgame interviews.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the post-game show brought to you by Marion Central Catholic. My name's Kyle Smith. Well, my name doesn't matter. These young ladies matter. It's senior night as the Hurricanes win a battle down the stretch, 48-46.
Hi, I'm Carrie Kramer. I swim 50 breast, 50 free, and 100 back.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Instead of spending hundreds or thousands with all these college recruiting sites, let us put together your college highlight reel. For just a fraction of your potential college scholarship and significantly less than these recruiting services, we got this. In addition, we put together highlight reels for teams, including high school, your club team, or travel team.
My teammate gave me a great pass, and I just took it. The other team slashed me, took the opportunity, saw where the goalie was weak, and I just shot it there.
Solon, O'Connor, and Marsh back on defense, and Marsh gets a blowout. We got a breakaway at 2-0. A shot and a goal! So 3-3. The power play was officially over.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. For those of you who would like to broadcast or live stream your event, or maybe make a highlight tape, but would like a sponsor to fund the event, SBS has a myriad of ways to advertise your sponsor during our broadcasts. We have commercials. We have on-air reads by the announcers.
Albatross Physical Therapy and Wellness specializes in pain-free.
We have graphics, and we have watermarks. Finally, Sports Broadcast Solutions can create a commercial for you or your sponsor. Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. For those of you that just want raw footage of your sporting event, but no play-by-play or color commentary, you just need us to live stream video from the event over the internet. We will live stream your event on YouTube on our Sports Broadcast Solutions channel. In addition, we also have a dedicated channel on YouTube for live streaming at SBS Livestream. And if you need multiple channels, we can utilize Facebook Livestream and Instagram Live on our channel as well. Options include commercials from your sponsors, professional scoreboard graphics are still available, and of course, yes, pre- and post-game interviews are available as an option if you want.
We've been working really hard this whole summer and stuff.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. We broadcast sporting events for people of all ages, including adult leagues, high school leagues, and kids. Complete with professional-looking graphics, broadcasters, color analysis, and commercials. We do pre- and post-game interviews with the players. In addition, Sports Broadcast Solutions does highlight films, including college recruiting reels, highlight films you'd see on sports news programs, and just simply highlight films for fun. Sports Broadcast Solutions also provides raw footage and live streams if you'd like. Subscribe to us and listen to our professional talk videos about relevant topics in the pro and college ranks. Whatever your sports broadcast needs, contact us at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital world. This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
To the city that invented the skyscraper, reverse the flow of a river.
18U All-Star game between the red and the blue team. Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsoe. And the first two games went to overtime. Blue made a valiant comeback, but the empty netter goal by red. And if red wins this one in terms of points, the total red All-Star teams will defeat the blue All-Star teams. But in terms of wins, if blue team wins either in regulation or overtime, they will have the overall wins of the 4 All-Star games.
Exactly right. That's because we're awarding a point to the team that tied in regulation, just like the NHL, right? You still get 2 points for the win, but you get a point for a tie in regulation. So right now, both teams are tied on points, so whoever wins this last game wins, blue or red overall. But we don't really care who wins. I mean, it's nice and fun, right? But this is all about showcasing your skills, playing with new teammates, networking, right? Getting seen by scouts. What a fantastic event! We're going to be we're going to be met later on with the league president, Jimmy Wright. He's going to come up. So sometime during the first period, he's going to get interviewed. Kyle's going to ask him a few questions. He'll brag about the league appropriately. This is a fantastic venue that we're playing here. The players are good. The teams have been made very even, right? So that's why we're getting 2 overtime games in a goal apart game. Of course, with the empty net happened. We're going through the player introductions now for the blue team.
Put this in your laptop.
I don't have a.
All right, I got an adapter for it.
Won't this work? Wait, won't that work? Where does it?
Somewhere on here, I don't know where it is. I just saw it. It's like... Here, let me put it in the camera. I'll find it. Eject it first. Here it is. Oh, wait. It's so strange how it's not popping up.
That's because that came out of the other camera.
No, it should pop right up on your SD card. I don't know why it's not popping up. It's in here.
Yeah.
You know what I...
That's because the SD card came out of your other camera. It's like a different file structure.
Yeah, but it should still pop up.
Sure.
I'll find it.
I mean, if it's there, I can find it here.
Okay, we'll try again.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't find it. It should be easy to find. 18U All-Star game, and some guys to watch out for between blue and red team. Mason Stevens and Kyle Hogan, they were pretty decent between the pipes in the playoffs. Mason Stevens struggled a little bit, 2.65 GAA. Kyle Hogan was very good at 2.02. The problem is, partner, these might be the two goalies in the entire Central States of Belmont Hockey League, and they play for red team. Cooper Dorovich, 1.44 GAA in the postseason. He had a 3-0 record. And Alex Revolta, who played in last year's 16U All-Star game, guess what his GAA was during the postseason?
Let's say 1.5.
1.38.
Wow, yeah.
Definitely you're going to want to keep that puck as a souvenir. You're going to want to put a little plaque around it.
Well, and they got to get the puck past the All-Star defense and then through him.
Yeah.
You just like Kyle Hogan because he's got a similar first name.
And if he's the player of the game, one of the 3 stars, he'd be Hogan's hero.
Ooh, he would be.
Or one of the 3 heroes, so Hogan's heroes.
Yeah, Sergeant Schultz would be proud.
All right, here we go. It's going to be blue team. They're in the home bench. They're with the Steels bench, and the away team is red.
I think it's cool how these all-star games have come down to whoever wins the 18 kind of wins the all-star series, so to speak. But we're the only ones that are thinking that way. So the face-off happened and the red team won it.
Over to blue line. I mean, we're going to see the speed really pick up. Falling to the ice and looking for a tripping call is red team's Joshua Taylor.
Nah, he wasn't looking for the call, but I sure was looking at the ref's arm to see if it went up or not.
Over past the center line, and here comes Morgan.
Now, I was amazed at the speed, even of the 14s, and of course then the 15s were way faster than that. The 16s were bigger and stronger and faster. Now here we are with the 18s.
Out behind the net. It's going to be a tough day for blue if they can't score early, because when you give these very good goalies in Dorovich and Revolta confidence, it's not going to be a good day for blue.
Well, they've got the all-stars that can get pucks past all-star goalies. Remember, they just played in mirror playoff games.
The more you give these guys confidence, the more of a struggle it's going to be for you offensively. As the game gets later on, the more confidence and the optimism that the goalies are going to get.
I wish I did. I didn't. How many players were in this All-Star series last year and then again this year? Like you said, Revolta. There's got to be a number of other players that were on the 16s team or maybe even the 7s teams. There were 17 on this 18s team last year.
As Joy had it, and he sent it over to the corner, and then back over to the corner for red. Back over to Joy at the point. He'll take his time, shoot, and he did get it on net. No rebound try for red, as it would sent over to Deegan out in the slot. Blue team tried to get it out, back over to neutral ice, and then sent over off the boards, as it was off the stick that time of Tompkins. Off the boards, little pass over to the point, as he was trying to feed Speh. And then a little backhander to the corner.
Yeah, what would also be interesting to see which colleges all these players are going to be playing at next year.
One face-off thus far in the game, and it was won by Liam Lekoichoy of red. Then past the blue line, as it was off the stick of Gongle. And then back over behind the net. It's going to be played by Speh. That's Speh on the corner. Speh with a nice move.
I'm looking forward to your interview with Jimmy White.
Yeah, Jimmy White should be here the first 5 minutes of the first period, he said. And first 2 games went to overtime. Third one had a chance. I mean, blue team, man, they gave us quite a fight. They were down 2-0, then 3-1, then 4-2, and then 5-3. And after all that, they were down 5-4 with 45 seconds to go, and then an empty netter by red team. And that was it.
The empty net ruins the fun. So we could have had a pulled goalie for 45 more seconds, but no, he has to hit the puck into the open net and ruin it for everybody.
He just had to be a team player. He couldn't be a sellout. You ever seen that Dallas Stars game where the Dallas Stars guy, instead of just shooting it into the net, he tried to tap it, so he went coast to coast with it. And then as he was going to tap it past the end line, he fell down.
Oh, I was thinking of a different play where he was going to tap it in instead, did a slap shot, which was kind of disrespectful, a lot of people thought, to the other team. I don't remember who did that, but there was a big to-do about that. You're going in for an empty net goal, and you do a slap shot. There's not even a goal in between you and the net. So that started let's just say bad blood.
But no, this was the Dallas Star player. He fell on a divot on the ice or something.
Oh, gee.
And he was going to tap it in. And then the other team went coast to coast with it to tie it up with the extra attacker.
Yeah, I think I remember that now. But, yeah, okay. I just watched the replay on YouTube or something. And didn't see the game live.
And then, of course, the famous play where the Michigan player picked up the puck behind the net and then wrapped it around. They literally call that play now the Michigan play.
Well, they need to change that and call it the Bedard play. Bedard executed a perfect lacrosse, reverse lacrosse from behind the net.
You know how hard that is to pick up the puck and then in one fluid motion do a wraparound?
Well, apparently it is hard because we don't see it very often.
Well, I mean, these how fast these guys are, the fastest game on ice. I mean, it's one of the fastest sports, period.
And violent collisions. So this has been up and down ice. The game isn't at center ice so much, but it's definitely up and down, not necessarily physical in terms of hitting. There have been a number of shots on goal, easy saves.
What do you think's tougher, playing in the National Hockey League or swimming the 500-meter in the Olympics?
Oh, for my money, it would be playing on a hockey game. I mean, swimming is grueling and everything, but it's straightforward. There's no collisions, et cetera. Hockey, I mean, to my opinion, is tougher. But that's hard to compare sports in different, different types of sports. What's harder to be, a linebacker or a basketball player,
Yeah. I just think about just like two of the most cardio-intensive sports. You could make the argument for hockey and swimming. And if you can be good at two of those sports in high school and college, I mean, that just shows you how much endurance you have. Past the blue line.
Well, that pass was intercepted. But, again, it's, left side of us, then right side of us, left side of us. Here's a shot.
That shot.
And then deflected out of bounds. But it's been up and down ice. No whistles until now. Oh, here we go.
As Jimmy's here for a first period report brought to you by the CSDHL, and Jimmy Wright is here in the booth with us. So nothing game. The first two games went to overtime. Third game, blue team gave us quite a fight, but just too many goals given up, including the empty netter, and red team won the third game 6-4.
Great games from start to finish. We've had them knock them right out of the park with the talent level that's out there. We've seen three great games and probably a fourth. So the group of kids that are out here this weekend are just phenomenal, and it shows today.
So this started last season at the Arctic Ice Arena in Orland Park. That was a fun time. They had the balloons up in the ice rink, and they had the press box where they had all the famous hockey jerseys in there with Messier and all them.
Yeah.
But now it's at Fox Valley Ice Arena. Where do you see this All-Star game progressing and becoming even more involved next year and the years after that?
So the first year we had 16s and 18s, and now this year we had the 14s, 15s, 16 and 18s. We'd probably like to add one more level next year, but I'd have to say that coming to Fox Valley here, we're a home of the Steel and the Cyclones. They've done a tremendous job of putting this together. There's a committee from Central States that I'd have to say thanks to Frank Benetti, the president of the Cyclones, and Nick Polis, who's the hockey director for the Vikings. But those guys did an amazing job putting this together. We couldn't have done it without them.
So what do we expect from this 18U All-Star game? Who are the players to watch out for? We talked a lot about Revolta and Darovich. They both had GAAs under 1.5 in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, any kid out here today could shine. I mean, these are all good players. That's why they're on the All-Star team. But you could be from any club, from anywhere, but they're all equal and they're all pretty good. So, like in all these other games, that's why these games have been so close. Everybody's super competitive. The skills that they get all year at Central States is amazing with their coaching, and every kid out there is a special kid. And this is what it's all about, having a great event for the kids. That's all about, it's the kids.
So the first game ended in a shootout, and there's a lot of controversy about how we end overtimes if we can't get a goal after a 3-on-3. How would you end it? Would you do 2-on-2? Would you do 1-on-1? Or should we stick with the shootout for double overtime?
So during the season and during playoffs, excluding championship, we do the same thing, 5-on-5, and then there's a 3-on-3. Or I'm sorry, 5 minutes, 3-on-3. There is no shootout in our regular season or playoffs. We have it here today because it's fun for the kids.
Right.
Anything we could do to mimic the NHL or the Blackhawks, we try to do, because hey, we're all hockey fans. We watch that, and it's fun for everybody. We would never go to 2-on-2 or 1-on-1.
We're not going to see D2 the Mighty Ducks where the dentist Stanson's going up against Bombay, and they're going out. They're trying to hit 2 posts in the crossbar.
No, but I would have liked to see like a how they say it sometimes, extra innings where they go 7 rounds and see who wins. But it ended early.
I remember that Penguins-Flyers game that went 6 overtime in the playoffs. That was straight 5-on-5 for 20 minutes.
I think they'd be turning the lights off on us if we did that here. And you guys may just say, you know what, it's time to go home.
Like from the movie Miracle, where the guy wants to go home, he turns off the lights, and Kurt Russell keeps saying again.
Right. Yeah, no, I think this is our 4th year with overtime, and everybody we get so many compliments about how they love the overtime, and it's so exciting. You know, we've had so many, even in the playoffs, we've had, you know, every night there's 4 or 5 overtime games, and it's so exciting to get that extra point.
No, the shootout is cool. It's so tough on the goalie. So like the goalie gives it up. It's not really the goalie's fault. It's a 1-on-0.
Right, and actually they say during the regular season in the pros that the goalie's got more of an advantage. But you put a lot of pressure on the 2 kids that are playing goalie and the shooters, right?
Right. I mean, you know, you look at the 14U game. Schoenholz, the reason they went to the shootout is he made that fabulous save post to post.
Right.
With 10 seconds to go in overtime.
He stood on his head in that 3rd period, and then in the overtime and in the 3rd period, but then in the shootout he gives up 3 in a row.
Yeah, but that's not his fault. It's a 1-on-0. It's all the pressure's on the goalie, right?
Right.
Well, final thoughts about today's All-Star Game festivities and just kind of the future of both the CSDHL and the All-Star Games going forward.
So we would love to have the All-Star Game back here if they'll have us. I mean, it don't get any better than this. Today was just an absolutely perfect day. So next year we're probably going to add the Pee Wee level, and you know, because it's, you know, you don't want to just have it for certain levels. You'd like to have it for all the kids, but it's hard to get a rink for all day. They do a great job here. Craig Welker, who runs the rink, and Frank, who's the president here, is just they just bent over backwards for us. So if we could do this again next year, which you guys are doing an amazing job for us too. So if we could get this done next year, same thing, and add another level would be perfect. And as for Central States, you know, we've gotten almost 245 teams in our league, so it's one of the best Tier 2 leagues in the country, and we're proud to say that all these kids get a great place to play and a chance to play for Central States. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this without the board of directors on Central States. Those guys do an amazing job all year. This is a full-time job, believe it or not.
I believe it. Any chance we see the mites and squirts, or is that just too little level to have the tip?
No, I would like to have them all, but I don't know if you can get them all in one day. I know I'm watching Frank down there. He looks like he's ready to drop. Right. He's been here working on it. But sooner or later they all will get a chance to do this.
We could have like my old Sunday morning practices. We have the mites play at 6 a.m. and the squirts play at 7:30 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if
you better have a lot of coffee in the building for those guys.
All right, Jimmy, thanks so much, man.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you putting this event on.
You guys do a
us.
great job. I really appreciate it. Central State Board and everybody says thank you, and keep it up. Thanks.
As that's a wraparound try. Thanks so much for Jimmy joining the booth for us. And
now you've got a great 5 or 10 minute commercial for the future years. That's awesome. I'm glad you got a chance to get on the air.
Out to the corner, and Jimmy does a very nice job for us. Very knowledgeable hockey guy, and I always like asking hockey guys, not that you're not a hockey guy, Bob, but people that play the game, that coach, to get their perspective of why can't we have 2-on-2 and why can't we have 1-on-1? Well, it's not real hockey. I mean, as fun as it is in D2 the Mighty Ducks, where Stenson and Bombay are trying to deke each other out and they're going crossbar and post, it's not real hockey. I mean, we can't make it that artificial.
Well, I don't know. Think about this, though. It could work out. If, for example, you know, volleyball is 6 players. They love playing 2-on-2 and then on different surfaces, sand, indoor, grass triples. So I think you could have 2-on-2, 3-on-3 hockey types of activities. The problem is ice time and ice locations are so hard to get.
Yeah. I mean, do we really want to see, though, a 2-on-2, 1-on-1 overtime? It'd be interesting.
Well, I've often said I would like to see, a 6-on-6 game. That's what's going on here. Then overtime for X number of minutes, 5-on-5, and if nothing happens, then for X number of minutes, a 4-on-4, then 3-on-3, then 2-on-2, and then 1-on-1. And teams get to choose. Well, is the one going to be the goalie, or is the one going to be a player? Probably can't be a goalie because it would be really hard to skate down ice.
You know what would be interesting? Let's say we go to triple overtime. We play 5-on-5, but you can only hit post or crossbar.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
That would be different. there's so many different rules that you can implement in all many different sports, kind of like the football thing instead of an onside kick,
Right.
4th and 20.
Right.
I mean, all kinds of different inventions. Volleyball was another one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
If you get a point from behind the 10-foot line, that's worth 2 points. Maybe you add a 3-point arc here in hockey, and if you score a goal from outside the 3-point arc, you get 2 points or something. Got a penalty here. Kraus is in the penalty box, number 8 for blue. So red is on the power play. First shot, nice save. He cleared. So still no score, but man in the penalty box going to make it a little easier. Boy, Battaglia took that all the way around from behind the net to the other side and all the way up the ice and has the puck in the forward zone. Nice job. And he goes back to the center point with a shot, and it goes in. It's deflected in, but a goal. So red takes the 1-0 lead on a shot at the point from Battaglia that got deflected into the net, while Kraus comes out of the penalty box hoping nobody sees him.
1-0 lead, and penalties always kill you, right? Red team scores, and they credit it to Battaglia.
Yeah, just like baseball, you don't want to walk a runner. They always come to score. Of course, you don't want to miss your extra points in football, and here you are in hockey. You get a penalty. That's when the goals happen against you. So now blue is playing uphill, down a goal. First period, 4 minutes, 17 to go. Well, what an effort on Battaglia. You're going to have to remember him for later on stars of the game. He took the puck all the way around his own net on the power play, brought the puck into the offensive zone, waited for a shot at the blue line, moved up when the defense collapsed a little bit. We're watching the replay there at center ice. The shot goes in. Looks like it went in perhaps off the defense. It doesn't look like it was tipped in by anybody else, so I think Battaglia should get credit for the goal there.
Face-off won by blue, and then over to the hash mark. Back over to neutral ice, and now played by blues out behind the net.
So that won't be the last goal we've seen, we don't think.
Tap pass out in front, out to neutral ice. Now over inside the red zone. I mean, it was pretty much even hockey, and then that goal scored by red on the power play if blue can avoid the penalties.
Well, and that's just it. Okay, so when both teams are equal strength, and, I don't say not much happens. It just goes back and forth up and down the ice. So, unfortunately, the penalty led to the leading goal. So now that changes the landscape. Okay, the blue team has to press a little bit to try to tie the game, and then that will result in some rushes going the other way. Red can sit back a tad, with their lead, eat some clock.
Tie-up action on the corner. Was trying to kick it away that time as Bleskovich.
And, of course, you got to not slash somebody or trip somebody else.
Yeah.
Got to make sure there's not too many men on the ice.
Slashing called against red, and it'll be a power play coming up for blue.
Now we'll see if blue can return the favor and score. So to return the favor, they need somebody at the blue line, get a pass into the deep slot and shoot, and get a deflection in.
Face off on the right wing side. And won by blue as they'll have a power play.
You have to wear armor when you block these shots.
That shot, pad save, and a beauty.
Nice one-timer, good save. Blazkowicz blasted toward the net. Great save by Stevens. Blazkowicz won the draw.
Over to blue, and it's over to the face-off circle as was over to Andrew Speth. Playing it off the face-off circle. As with it was Tompkins out to the corner.
Right idea, shoot it high. Goalie went down, so there was some room at the top of the net.
Out behind the net, played by Blue. Set up to Abram, his shot, and pad save, and a nice one by the netminder and Revolta. Out behind the net. As Blue team has plenty of time still remaining on their power play. That's a loose puck, and Revolta, with all that traffic in front, able to make the save. Here's a replay on it. Shot, rebound, and it went off the knee of Cox. Another try, Revolta, a nice save. As a faceoff coming up for Blue, it'll be Jacob Misch to take it. Won by Blue. And now Gabrielle Kraus trying to feed it over to the end line. Backhanded. Past the center line. Little backhanded pass over to Abrams. And then off the boards. And I mean, Blue has to show some sense of urgency right now. They only have 26 seconds remaining on the power play. Here it is. Fakes the pass, shot, he scores! Beautiful setup goal. Fakes the shot, passes over to a teammate, power play goal.
I think there's an announcer's jinx somewhere in there when he said Blue had to show some sense of urgency.
Yeah, just right after I said that. Excellent goal, and that makes it a 1-1 tie. Here comes Blue past the blue line. They score the power play goal. That's a good save by Revolta.
So even 1-1 game with a little less than a minute to go now.
Under a minute to go in the period as Blue team gets the excitement back in the crowd and they get the momentum back. That shot, Revolta stands tall between the pipes. And we'll stop play at 49.
Let's see, Jessica Deegan. What do you want to bet? She's Zach Deegan's mom. And wasn't there a Deegan on the 16s roster?
Yeah. First Deegan that we talked about, Max Deegan. And now Zach Deegan. So Max, and here we go, chance for Blue. And oh, they couldn't get the shot of that. What a huge hit into the boards. And he fell into the boards, no boarding call. As was delivered by Sam Harper. And then Petz, his pass over to Red, and now played by Nuenis. Both teams have scored, and both teams have scored on their power plays. Well, good job by Blue. They didn't panic. They had under 30 seconds remaining in the power play, but they set up a nice goal on the 2-on-1. That'll do it for the period. We're going to take a break. More hockey action coming up next here on SBS. Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsoe, 1-1 tie. Both teams have scored on the power play. And if both teams can avoid the penalties, they'll be in good shape.
Oh boy, you said that right. That's when the goals are happening. Owen Gruden for the Blue team has 2 shots on goal and won 2 out of the 3 faceoffs he's had. Blue is winning the shots on goal battle by a lot, 12-5 here. So at that rate, you figure eventually one of those is going to go in, and it should take the lead soon. But it's still a tie game. Anything can happen. Now we're in period 2 for the first 8:30, so we'll have a break then, and the Zamboni will come out.
As that face-off won by Blue over to neutral ice, played by Red. Little tap pass, backhanded style, and was played by Taylor. Now over to neutral ice, backhanded pass to Steven as he was setting up to Good. Good pass, in fact, and then that shot blocked. Might have gone off his own teammate, off his shin guard. And now near the end line, Blue.
Oh, nice
little kick pass.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you're in this All-Star game, and creativity is one of them. Oh boy, fell to the ice. Did he do it on his own accord?
Yeah, and he just scored a goal himself.
That's Nolan well, it's written Waibenga, but I have a feeling it's pronounced Vaibenga.
That's rough for a goalie when a player slides into you like that.
It's all right. He's got a lot of pads. He'll be all right. And if he's not all right, well, you're our last option, so you better be all right. Take an aspirin, get back out there.
Yeah, so is it Waibenga or Webenga?
Probably
Waibenga.
If this was Germany, it would be Vaibenga. That shot and good block, as it was blocked by Jack Steven. Over to neutral ice, losing it was Mans, and then handled by Red in their own zone. Some handles behind the net. Switching to the forehand, and then sent over to the blue line. Retrieved by Red, chance, saved, another try, and a rebound try to save.
Boy, I felt like that pass threaded the needle, but there wasn't too many places he could go with it. The puck was low, he didn't have space to lift it. So all you can do is hit the goalie and hope for a rebound, maybe a 5-hole shot. In the meantime, there's a face-off in the offensive zone, all good. Oh, there's the replay of the goalie getting smashed.
Yeah, tough day.
Yeah, poor Revolta.
Yeah, that was pretty revolting what the other team did. To the hash mark, sending it over behind the net as it's played by Cameron Bader. And I think that was a set play, but it was a lack of communication between Bader and Belisek.
And that's just because they're unfamiliar with each other. Two good players, is not used to each other yet.
No excuses, no days off.
Here's a 3-on-2 coming, though.
Yeah, red team better get back quickly. Tap pass over to Izzo. And Tom Izzo would be not happy with that play not going to fruition.
And Abram trailing the play, almost had a shot.
Two-line pass over to Blaskovic, and he did touch it, so no icing. And no choice but for Kyle Hogan to play it out behind the net.
And that's where you got to be careful. Abrams went forward, trailed the play, and got a shot out of it, but then there was a quick almost breakaway on the way back.
Yeah. See, those are interesting plays because the defenseman doesn't expect it. He's playing at the blue line, then all of a sudden Abram with a full head of steam gets past him. He cherry picks, calls for the puck, and it's almost right on his tape for a breakaway chance.
Exactly.
So not only as a defenseman do you have to be fast, but you have decent peripheral eye vision. Of all the things to have in hockey, peripheral eye vision might be the most important because if you can't see that guy going past you, it's like breakaways all the time.
Well, and anticipation, ooh, I like that. A fake wraparound, the goalie stayed, though, long enough to wreck the play. Got a penalty behind the play.
Hand goes up.
Another penalty, another goal opportunity. Nobody scored with
regulation,
yeah.
5-on-5, even strength.
Right.
This potential penalty is brought to you by Beef Shack.
So
and they're showing the loop button like there might be something wrong with the clock. The hand went up like it was an icing. And here we go. Yep, he's going to the box. So Bob was right. And a power play coming up for Red. So 2 minutes in the box for Blue.
This time Folks. Wait.
Yeah,
Folks, number 3. Almost looks like Folks, not Folks. There's a W in there.
So golden opportunity right now for Red. Let's see what they do with it.
Well, if it was an empty net, that would have been a goal. Now here again, the blue team has been very aggressive on killing penalties at trying to score goals the whole day.
Two on two now for Red. Shot blocked. Chance! And backhanded and saved that time by Hogan. Good job on the physics, the geometry of the play. He hit the spot on the pad to a certain point where his teammate could get a rebound try.
Boy, I like that goal attempt. Patagli at the point got deflected. I think that was Deegan who got the deflection, but good save. So Jessica Deegan would be proud. May as well plug her at Properties. That's what came up on the center board there. We're going to assume that's your kid. He's playing great.
Right now, 14 shots on goal for Blue, just 8 for Red. As Blue steals, and now Red steals. Shot for Pets, and a nice glove save and a beauty by Kyle Hogan.
Yeah, I think that was going to be a wee bit high in the outside on the net. So the trick is to make sure all your shots are on net. I think that would have been high and away, but it was, from a distance, you got to snipe at those corners.
That save brought to you by Precision Dent Removal. Check them out at dentremovalchicago.com.
I mean, we still got some dents out here.
I mean, as fast as these slap shots are, they might put a dent in the opposing goalie's glove.
Right. So we got to fix that with the dent.
One time a deer dented my car, and that's a story for another day.
Yeah, that is a story.
Shot blocked.
Your car went dead on arrival as a result. Never mind the poor deer.
And then the cop laughed about it when he pulled me over the face-off circle. That was a tough drive back from Rochester, Minnesota. Pass out in front. Calling for it, just couldn't finish the play as Dominic Nuanis called for it.
If that play connected, though, the wide open net was right in front of him.
Just seems like every time a team gives up a penalty, it just makes it so tough for their defense, their penalty kill unit to score. And there we go again, another try. Shot, rebound try, another beautiful save by Hogan. Wouldn't have mattered anyways, net fell off.
Brian Manns had like 3 different shots right in a row at 3 different angles to try to get the puck in there, and he stopped on every attempt.
So we're back to even strength hockey.
So finally a penalty and no damage. Centered.
Yeah, that shot wide.
Yeah, we've had some bad hops off that back wall.
Over to the boards. Flipped up in the air. Then over to the boards. Couldn't feed it out in front, and then gloved and covered up by Hogan. 1-1 tie. This game brought to you by the Glenview Stars Hockey Association. Check them out at GlenviewStarsHockey.com. I apologize, GlenviewStars.org is the website. That shot, good job. That almost went off the mask of Hogan.
It was very high on his chest protector.
Glenview Stars Hockey Association sends out a shout out to Luke Radel from our Bantam Majors team. Congrats on making the CSDHL All-Star team. We're so proud of you, and thank you for being a star. I get it. It's a pun. Well played.
That was well played, and there wasn't quotes this time.
That shot. See, that's what I was confused about. He put quotes about it, so I thought it was like he was being facetious. But then, like, they're called the star. So what he should have done is he should have made it bold and italic. I think I would have gotten the pun easier. But then again, I have a Marquette, not a Harvard education. So the guy who wrote it might have a Yale education. He expected more out of me.
That was well written and certainly well read. Uh-oh, here's trouble. Oh, no, the puck bounced funny, and that was the end of that.
But don't shoot him. He's just the messenger, right? 3-on-2 now for Red. Now in front, shot, glove saving a beauty. They might need to go blocker, buddy, because Hogan is pretty darn good on that glove.
I was thinking that exact same thing. If it hit it low, there was a rebound that could have been given up, and it was going to be an easy goal. But he caught, shot it high and caught it with the glove, and there was obviously no rebound as a result. So excellent rebound control by the goalie, but I think to your point, the shot needed to hit the pads.
Face-off won by Blue. We will have overtime if we're tied after 3 periods.
Gruden leading the blue team with 3 shots now. Tompkins with 2.
We've seen a lot of famous football coaches' last names today. Madden and Gruden. A lot of good passes. Tic-tac-toe action. No-look shot. Couldn't get it on net. After all that, it goes for naught.
Yeah, I like those passes, though.
And Revolta didn't like it, so he just passed it over, past his teammates. Meanwhile, Red would love to get it out quickly. Revolta, it's in his net. Are you kidding me?
Exactly what I was talking about earlier. We've had some crazy bounces off the back wall. In this case, bounced off the back wall high and hit the goalie in the back and dribbled into the net. Go figure.
That is the definition of a garbage goal.
I just don't like the term. But yeah, it was, I guess you could say it's kind of a random goal, not something you really, I don't want to say earned, but here's the replay, the shot. Goes off the back wall, hits the goalie, it looks like in the back of the arm, and goes in.
I might send that to SportsCenter for an SC top 10 play.
Right, that would be a good one. We had a top 10 play earlier when the goalie sprawled out. We've got the highlight already up on, what was it, Facebook or on Twitter, right? And then the wraparound hit the post instead of went in the net. But I like this one.
That's a first for me. I've never seen that before.
I admit the same thing.
I mean, Revolta, he just shook his head and was like, are you kidding me as well? But you know what they say, it doesn't matter how you give them up, it's still your fault, right?
Well, right, I was thinking that. On that play where the puck got shot off the back wall, he was looking for, he got too far outside the pipes and it hit him on the back of the arm and went in.
Yeah, turn your back immediately to make sure it doesn't go off your shoulder pad into the net. But no, that I was just kidding. That's not really his fault. It was just crazy. But yeah, I mean, as a goalie, you try to do everything you can to avoid giving up goals.
And another one. A wonderful one-time pass that just got through.
Well, we talked about our team's going to score even strength. We finally have our answer, and that's the first real goal. The one previous one, that was just a crazy carom off Revolt into the net, but that time that was well earned by Blue. 3-1 lead and a big-time goal as we get close to the Zamboni.
Right, translates to a 2-goal lead now, getting 1 minute away from when the Zamboni comes out. Now, that's a good time to make adjustments for the red team. Arguably, they may need to make adjustments. On the other hand, I mean, when you get a crazy goal like that, are they really not playing well? Do they need to adjust anything? But whatever, they're going to have to get 2 goals to get back in this game if we're going to see another overtime. And, of course, we all know we want to see another overtime.
I think there's some players hosting this All-Star event that might want a regulation win. 2-on-1.
What a great
look at that pass. Chance shot. Oh, wow, Revolta. I thought that was going in the net.
Yeah, I liked his the shot where he's back towards the glove side while he was skating toward the blocker side. It looked like it got out of the blue line there.
It was
kept
in well by Karinsky.
This will be icing probably. Nope, the goalie's going to touch it. Got waved off.
And then sent over to the hash mark. Grant Folks near the boards. And Revolta, that will do his day in. It'll be up to his backup and Cooper Dorovic to help his team come back. They're down 2 goals. We go to the Zamboni with Blue Team in full control thus far. You're watching Blue Team against Red Team here on SBS, the broadcasting network thus far.
Hawks and the Philadelphia Flyers. They'll still have to win a Game 7 in Chicago. It's a 3-3 tie in the first overtime, meaning this has been a moderate offensive explosion with some decent defense and goaltending squeeze in between this hockey contest. This is a huge game for Blackhawks fans, as their favorite hockey team has been a laughingstock in the Western Conference for most of the previous decade. For the Flyers, they're looking to bring back Stanley Cup glory to the city of brotherly love for the first time since the 1970s. To truly understand the importance of what happens next, we need to hit that left button on the VCR. In other words, we need to rewind. The Blackhawks are an overtime goal away from cementing their legacy in NHL history. But for a franchise who used to not even televise its home games, this seemed like a pipe dream even 5 years ago. Known for his severe cheapness, Blackhawks former owner Bill Wirtz decided to cancel all home broadcast agreements with network and cable television outlets in 1992. According to Wirtz and the Wirtz Corporation as a whole, home broadcasts were, quote, unfair to the team's season ticket holders, unquote. And as crazy as this decision was by Wirtz, fan attendance increased during the mid-1990s. Incredibly, without normal home broadcasts and overall television brand awareness about the team, the Hawks averaged over 19,300 fans during the mid-1990s at the United Center. This is how it worked. WGN and other media outlets couldn't broadcast the Blackhawks games at the United Center. But if a national broadcasting network such as ESPN decided to telecast the game, a Blackhawk fan could purchase HawkVision, a subscription network worth $29.99 per month. Then you could watch the ESPN broadcast of Blackhawks vs. Red Wings at the United Center on normal cable television. It was pretty confusing, to be sure, and as you know, the internet wasn't big back then. If you were a big hockey fan and wanted to know about the Blackhawks, you either had to go to the game or wait for the hockey highlight on SportsCenter. Even then, hockey coverage wasn't big on ESPN, so it was in your best interest to purchase a ticket at the UC. So the fans kept supporting the Blackhawks even though they couldn't watch their favorite team on TV. However, the product on the ice wasn't so great. As if it were a curse from the hockey gods, the Hawks kept finding different ways to choke in the playoffs. An original six team, the Hawks were at one time the second most cursed original six franchise. The New York Rangers went titleless from 1940 until 1994, and the Hawks now find themselves in the same place as the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs and the Hawks have not hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup since the 1960s decade. For the Hawks, it's been even worse. They haven't won it all since 1961, and before that, Chicago went 23 years without hoisting the Cup. The Maple Leafs have been a borderline disaster since 1967, but at least the Leafs were a dynasty in the 60s. The Hawks were lucky to even win the 1961 Stanley Cup. So yeah, the Hawks have pretty much been mediocre or worse since 1961. However, there were moments when the franchise seemed destined for championship glory. The worst moment for Chicago hockey fans was the 1971 Stanley Cup Final against the hated Montreal Canadiens. Without air conditioning at Old Chicago Stadium, the Hawks were the home team during Game 7 of the Finals against the Canadiens. Jumping out to an early 2-0 lead, legendary netminder Tony Esposito couldn't stop Jacques Lamar's 60-foot-away snapshot, giving the Canadiens their first goal of the contest. Chicago Tribune writer Bob Verdi said there was a humid haze hung over the ice, but Esposito refused to blame the rink's lack of air conditioning on the soft goal he gave up. He had a point, since Lamar's shot was nearly from the center line. The Canadiens never looked back and scored twice more to upset the Hawks and win 3-2 on Chicago's home ice. Since then, the Hawks have never been closer to winning the Cup as they were that day in 1971. That is, until tonight anyway. As painful as it was in 1971, Hawks fans who were still alive in 1992 had to be devastated at what happened next to Ed Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Incredibly, Eddie the Eagle Belfour and Dominik the Dominator Hasek were both on the Blackhawks at the same time. Two future Hall of Fame goalies were both on the Hawks, and yet the franchise still couldn't win a Stanley Cup with either netminder. Belfour was the starter during the brief Belfour-Hasek years. The Hawks made the 1992 Stanley Cup championship round with Belfour and Hasek both on the roster. It was also a Chicago team with Chris Chelios leading the defenseman, and forward Jeremy Roenick was on this Hawks team as well. Led by captain Dirk Graham, the Hawks went on a very impressive winning streak in the playoffs. After falling to a 2-1 series deficit to the St. Louis Blues, the Hawks won their next 3 games against the Blues, as well as back-to-back series sweeps against the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. Just like that, 11 consecutive victories saw the Blackhawks 4 wins away from ending up as the last team standing. The only team in their proverbial way, the NHL's version of the Super Mario Brothers, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr. The Pittsburgh Penguins were the defending Cup champions, and after narrowly beating the Washington Capitals in Game 7 during Round 1, the Pens found their way in the finals thanks to winning 8 of their last 10 games. Hasek was probably Chicago's better goalie entering the playoffs, as the Dominator earned all rookie honors and went 10-4-1 during his 15 starts between the pipes. Between a contract holdout from Belfour and Crazy Eddie missing games this season due to personal reasons, Hasek was turning into a fan favorite, while Belfour was the more controversial choice at net. However, head coach and general manager Mike Keenan stuck with Belfour throughout the playoffs. He turned out to be the best goaltender in the postseason, not named Tom Barrasso. The problem is Barrasso plays for Pittsburgh, so it was up to Roenick and company to find consistent offense against the Eastern Conference's best goalie. It looked like the Hawks had the Pens right where they wanted them when they took a 4-1 lead during Game 1. But the hockey gods haven't liked Chicago since 1961. Whenever the Hawks can blow a postseason lead during crunch time, they like to do it. The Pens scored 4 unanswered goals on their home ice, including the game winner with just 13 seconds left in OT. A crushing 5-4 loss for the Hawks, and they never rebounded from it. It was a sweep for the Pens as the Penguins celebrated their championship victory at Chicago Stadium. Hasek even showed during the series that he still had some raw rookie moments, but Belfour clearly wasn't himself. Hasek subbed in for Belfour in Game 4 after Eddie the Eagle gave up 2 goals on just 4 shots on goal. Keenan had a tough decision to make between keeping Hasek and Belfour, but with Belfour 1 year removed from winning the Vezina and Williams M. Jennings trophies for best goalie, Keenan had no choice but to allow Hasek to become expendable. The Sabres then cashed in on the young goalie's athleticism by fleecing the Hawks with a terrible trade request. The Sabres received a future Hall of Famer in Hasek, and the Blackhawks received just future draft considerations and a goalie in Stefan Beauregard, who never played a single minute in the goalie crease. The future draft considerations eventually led to the Hawks drafting Eric Daze in the 4th round. Daze became an all-star left winger, but serious back and herniated disc issues saw the team's promising winger limited to just 74 games in 3 seasons after his all-star game appearance in 2002. He retired after playing just 1 game in 2005. That being said, Keenan didn't want there to be a locker room controversy between Hasek and Belfour, and it's easy to say in hindsight when no one knew how great Hasek would become. Unfortunately, Belfour wouldn't even finish his career in Chicago. The Hawks were worried that he would re-sign with the team, so they shipped him off to San Jose for 3 players I personally never heard of until I Googled them: Ulf Dahlin, Michael Sikora, and Chris Terreri. Terreri was put in the very tough position of trying to fill Belfour's shoes in net, and he never got close to reaching Belfour's milestone achievements. Blackhawk fans kept asking themselves, is this team cursed? The 1999 Stanley Cup Final pitted Belfour against Hasek as the Dallas Stars took on the Buffalo Sabres. Belfour eventually won the Cup over Hasek in the series, although Hasek won more Cups than the Eagle once he began playing for the Red Wings. The Blackhawks managed just 1 more Western Conference Finals appearance with Belfour in net, and they wouldn't get back to the Western Conference Finals until last season. No one ever wishes someone to die, but success seemed to reach the Blackhawks once Bill Wirtz passed away from complications of cancer on September 26, 2007. His son, Rocky Wirtz, took over the team, and during their first season with Rocky as the CEO, the Hawks finished above 500 for the first time in 6 years. With John McDonough as the president and Joel Quenneville as the head coach, the Hawks made it back to the playoffs and finished in the Final Four. The Red Wings once again got in their way and easily took care of the Hawks 4-1 during the 2009 Western Conference Finals. Entering the 2009-10 season, the Hawks decided they need a veteran forward who could score goals and match up against their biggest rival, the Detroit Red Wings. Marian Hossa signed with the Blackhawks, giving the Hawks a formidable 1-2-3 punch on line 1 on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Marian Hossa. That is, if they ever needed to use all 3 guys on the power play. The Hawks were a tough team to beat in 2010, and they finished just 1 point shy of the Western Conference leading Sharks, but the Hawks were the better team in the Western Conference Finals and swept the Sharks to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. Their opponent was an unlikely one, the Philadelphia Flyers. Entering the playoffs as a 7th seed, the Flyers had little title aspirations, but after the top-seeded Capitals were stunned in round 1 to the 8th-seeded Canadiens, there was new hope in Philly. The Flyers looked dead in the water when they trailed 3-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, but Simon Gagne returned for Game 4, and they definitely needed him as Gagne scored in overtime to force a Game 5. Brian Boucher was excellent as the Flyers starting goalie during Game 5, but he had to leave the game early due to knee injuries. As such, Michael Layton finished off Game 5 as the Flyers' new goalie and preserved the 4-0 shutout. Layton then got the start in Game 6 as expected, and he made the most of his opportunity by being perfect through 59 minutes until the Boston Bruins scored late. It was still a 2-1 win for the Flyers, and wouldn't you know it, the Flyers had a chance to win Game 7 and come back from an insurmountable 3-0 deficit. The Bruins actually led 3-0 in Game 7 at the TD Garden.
Second period, it's a 3-1 lead right now for Blue. Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsoy.
So we'll find out if the red team is going to be able to make some adjustments. Kyle Hogan, we talked to just now a few minutes ago. He was in goal, did a great job, only gave up 1 goal. So now we see Mason Stevens in goal.
Yep, both goalies are playing 25 minutes and 30 seconds today.
I love the end 35 seconds. Here we go. It's a foot race.
And tapped away that time by Kyle Settles. Over to the point.
Did you say another Kyle?
Yeah, a lot of Kyles in this game. And if Blue scores again, they could settle in for a victory today.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Over to the blue line, and that should be a trip. Oh, boy, there it is. Okay. I didn't see the hand go up right away, so I don't think the nearest linesman saw it. I think the back person
It was right there that got seen. The referee that was on our right, he saw it right away.
But there was a ref right in the
near
line.
It that didn't call it.
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, they're both allowed to call it, but the ref to the right made the call. So a power play.
And it'll be against Red.
So we got Brian Manns in the sin bin here. And a golden opportunity for Blue. I'm not going to say to put the game away, but to take a 3-goal lead. It's going to be real hard for Red to kick a field goal to tie it.
Yeah, absolutely, partner.
So Blue should really press to see if they can get one in here and put the game about as close to on ice as they can.
I don't know, broken stick. Oh, boy, and he can't believe it. He might have just bought that stick. You see the frustration, Cameron Bader.
I think in this situation, I'd send him off the ice to get a player with a stick back on the ice.
But the problem is if you take him off, it becomes a 5-on-3 for a couple of seconds.
For a couple of seconds. Coaches say don't do it, but I think in this case, he was the player farthest from it. The puck's in the corner. Make this change quick. Get a player with a puck on, with a stick in their hands.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think you might have hit something on the head that maybe he bought that stick. He definitely had a look about him like, I can't believe this just happened.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
It's another one you can send into Sports Center, right?
It's going from bad to worse right now for Red, man.
Yeah,
that stinks.
Maybe more of a TikTok.
Loose puck near the crease.
It's all this work, and what did it get me?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, 26 seconds left on this penalty. Not a whole lot of fireworks on the penalty, but Blue regrouping.
Here goes Deegan past the blue line, and somehow that pass somehow got through. He was trying to feed it over to Battaglia.
And apparently grabbed or hooked from behind. Another penalty. I'm not going to say this game is called too tight either. These refs are making good calls and the correct calls, even though it's an all-star game and you want to let them play. You can't let them hook from behind on a 2-on-1 break like that. So now, got a penalty going the other way. Red with a chance to cut the lead in half. This is a real big 2 minutes for them. Plenty of time left to go in the game, but this is a golden opportunity. This would be one of those situations a little bit early where I'd like to see teams be a little bit more willing to pull the goalie and make a 6-on-4 to try to get a goal during this power play situation. Right now, the goalie to our right is just sitting in the net doing nothing. Cross ice pass.
Has that shot.
Let's do that again. Practice makes perfect. Easy save, got a face off to the side. Cooper Derevich just skating from side to side on his end of the ice.
Yeah, just trying to stay loose, right?
Right. Yeah, I'd like to see him pull him.
Pull him?
Pull him. Minute 36 to go. Make it a 6-on-4 and try to put this.
I know you want the kids to have fun, but you have to make it within reason of hockey IQ and real life.
Yeah, nobody does it. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to revolutionize the game.
There's revolutionize it, and then there's going on Reddit and saying stupid things. Are you a Reddit conspiracy guy?
Absolutely not.
That shot blocked. I mean, that's.
I might have some conspiracies in mind, but not. I don't post them on Reddit. I keep my conspiracy theories to myself. You know, like the driver in JFK's car turning around and shooting JFK. Those like conspiracies I don't talk about.
The most interesting conspiracy is that Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey Oswald because they were in cahoots with each other. That's an interesting conspiracy theory.
Yeah, as opposed to the CIA planning and orchestrating all that?
No, just...
So, regrouping behind the net, a little bit of forechecking never heard on a power play, I suppose.
Out to neutral ice, Blue with it.
That was great anticipation. That's why he's on the All-Star team. Again, Blue, typical of all the Blue teams today. They are very good in a shorthanded situation.
As it was past the skate that time of Henry Wiseman. Out to neutral ice.
Yeah, intercepted another pass. Too bad that wasn't a faster pass.
Liam Lekachoy with the pass out in front. The power play still on for another 34 seconds for Red. Red trying to get back in this game, and Blue's trying to give it back to them. They've been in the box a couple of times.
Here they go, one man back. They got to watch out, though, because this can get turned around on them really quickly. Here it looks like it's almost a 2-on-1, broken up.
As that's flipped up in the air and stolen away by Red. It was stolen by Settles, past the blue line as Settles with it. He taps it over, trying to get it himself. And Settles out behind the netminder, as it's now Mason Stevens between the pipes for Blue.
No icing.
So that does it for the penalty. Back to even strength hockey. Tapped over, and Blue team tried to pass it in, and they do.
And that's not good for the Red team. They needed to score in that power play.
Chance for Blue. Shot. Ooh, went off the side of the net.
Didn't miss by much.
Stolen by Blue. Out in front. Shot. I think that went in.
Nope, crossbar.
I don't know about that. I think it went inside the crossbar and hit net.
Well, that's how you go and look at it later. We're going to see a replay, I'm sure, on that. But no, I think it hit the crossbar. But wow, how close was that?
So thus far, for blue team, Cooper Karinsky has 2 of the 3 goals. Might be our SBS player of the game. I don't know what it is about blue team. They're technically the home team, and they played like it. It seems like some home ice advantage for blue team as they almost won all 4 games.
That's one way to put it. That's true.
But at the same time, red team had their opportunities. 2 of the 3 games went to OT, and they just couldn't get it done. Slap shot. And if it weren't for that mistake by Bairstow in the 16U game, that could have gone to overtime, and blue could have won that one.
Well, they've still done a fabulous job putting these teams together. I mean, when you get 4 all-star teams put together and 2 of them go to overtime, that means you're making even teams.
Off the skate, red steals. That, swing and a miss, and great job poking it away and getting a piece of it, Nathan Halfhill.
Yeah, talk about back checking, huh?
Over to the corner. Played in the corner by red.
It's a good board battle going on, that's for sure.
There's tie-up action.
Now, in the old days, that would have been whistled dead. I like that they play it out.
At the face-off circle, couldn't get the shot on net. Loose puck, and picked up by blue. Here comes Cooper Karinsky. Karinsky with 2 goals thus far. Man, is he fun to watch. His shot. Rebound try, couldn't hammer it home, and a loose puck, and covered up well by the netminder and Cooper Dorovich.
Yeah, that shot had a purpose, that's for certain. It was a good save, though. Cooper Karinsky, a good skater.
And a beautiful dog. Hey, I thought it said as we were entering the doors here, no pets allowed.
I don't know, must be a support dog, right? So we were downstairs with Kara getting the interview, and they saw him on the side there with his little puppy dog. I wanted to go pet it.
Pet him, it's not an it.
Well, we don't know if it's a him.
Well, you can't say it, it's a him or her, it's not an it.
Of course, you're a dog owner, and that's why you would say that. You have a great dog, by the way. That big thing.
There's no such thing called an it. Even a mouse is a him or her.
I have the same problem at home. Even though we have a girl dog at home, I still call it an it.
And I do that. You ever read the book A Child Called It?
2 on 1. No.
It's not good. I mean, it's a good book. It's just very, it's depressing. We'll leave it at that.
Isn't there a movie with the clown called It or something?
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the book.
Okay.
That was just Tim Curry doing Tim Curry silly things. I've never seen what's it called? As that shot goes wide, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
You never saw that one?
No.
I've seen that a few times.
I hear it's pretty weird.
It's fun. You bring toast and squirt guns and you have a blast in the crowd.
You ever, here's a chance for red, now to the slot. You ever seen the movie The Room?
I can't remember that one.
It's pretty bad. Out to the slot, chance for blue, shot, he scores!
That's trouble with only 29 seconds left to go in the second period.
And that should do it, unless something crazy happens in the third period.
Well, they're going to have a chance to make some adjustments. I don't know what adjustments you can make, swap lines around. I don't know. You're going to have to score a field goal somehow in the third period. That's going to be real tough to do.
And it's going to be credited to Devin Bruns. His dad, of course, brunsandbruns.com, one of our sponsors today. I mean, he was wide open. He could have read a book how wide open he was waiting for that pass.
Well, part of the problem is the goalie sliding across the crease there and opening up more and more net along the way, and he shot it into the side that was getting bigger and bigger and more vacant. It's a good shot.
And blue team wisely are just going to skate it all the way to their own end to waste time. And they lead by 3 goals. 4-1 lead, partner. It's doomsday right now for red.
Yeah, so let's make this assumption, right? So the blue team won the first 2, the red team won the third one. It looks like blue's going to win this one, so blue's going to win 3 out of 4 of these games. so far. I mean,
And-
anything can happen with 17 minutes to go, of course.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a quick break. Third period of action coming up next here on SBS, the broadcasting network for everyone.
Plato's Closet has athletic wear from all the top brands. Joggers, anyone? Our prices will get you moving, and we'll pay cash for your stuff. Buy and sell right here at Plato's Closet.
Four-one lead, 17-minute periods. It just doesn't feel like it's Reds' day in terms of the 18U championship. I mean, the 18U All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, 4-1. That's obviously the most lopsided score we've seen. Nobody's had a 3-goal lead that I can recall during the day.
So 2 goals right now for Karinsky, 1 for Waibenga and 1 for Vaughn.
I like the cameraman finding the breakdancers in the crowd. That kid was pretty darn cute earlier.
As it's a face-off won by Blue. A little slow-moving puck accepted by Waibenga. And to the face-off circle, they'll retreat. And I mean, they can do this all game if they want to. They're up 3 goals.
Yeah, I guess you could.
It's up to Red to attack behind the net, and if they do that, then Blue is forced to attack themselves. That shot, he scores.
Blue is just running the table here. That was a good shot. It was a good save, but the rebound control wasn't there and hit in. I think Cox got that goal.
Well, we were always wondering if we're going to see a blowout in any of these All-Star games, and we finally got one. Last year we did 2. They were both 1-goal affairs. The first 3 games were very competitive. This one, not so much. Yeah, you're right. The rebound control, not good at all. It's a tough angle shot. You know it's coming at you. And just way too easy for Colton Cox.
Well, and that was that low shot against the pads, hoping for the rebound, and it's just the timing was perfect. The bounce was perfect, and, well, this is a well-executed play.
Yeah, anytime you give up 5 goals in a game, doesn't say a lot about how good your goalies were.
Well, I still like to blame defenses before I blame the goalies.
Yeah, it's a team game. It's a team loss. You win as a team, you lose as a team.
Yeah, the way you said it sounded so cliche, but I do think the defenders have a,
yeah, all right.
They have to push the forwards out of the play so they can't get those shots.
You know, I always bring up Game 6 of the '99 Stanley Cup Final, Buffalo Sabres, Dallas Stars. That was that controversial game where Brett Hull scored, but there was a rule back then. You could not enter the crease before the puck was there.
Oh, yeah.
And Brett Hull was in the crease before the puck. And that was the go-ahead goal in overtime. I think it was actually double overtime.
Yeah.
Buffalo has not been to the Stanley Cup Final since then.
No. So now we have a Brett Hull curse?
Yeah. Anyways, I bring that up because a lot of Buffalo Sabre fans they blew unfair, blah, blah, blah. We should have played on. But at the same time, you win as a team, you lose a team. There were things you could have done better to not be in that spot in the first place.
Right. We like to blame referees for bad calls, but the reality is they made one bad call. If they even made that bad call, then we made like 30 dumb plays along the way.
Now, there are things like the Sacramento Kings against the LA Lakers. There were a lot of controversial calls made in Game 6 of that Western Conference Finals.
Well, that's you're talking the WNBA, which is just like
the NBA.
I'm sorry, the NBA, which is just like the WWE.
Right. If it's a bunch of mistakes made by the refs, then you can start to make the argument the refs influence that game.
Yeah, start.
But when it's one call, look, Don Deckinger didn't help out the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 6.
That's just one call.
But there are a lot of things that the Cardinals could have done to not even be in that spot in the first place.
So let's see if Blue can tack on some more. In this, frankly, it's a 5-1 blowout in the third period.
Pull the goalie.
Yeah, I think that's a little late for that.
Yeah.
See, they needed to pull the goalie back in the second period, and then it would be a 3-2 game.
Yeah, right.
And then Blue never would have gotten these other 2 goals, and the score would still be 3-2. Isn't that when you say, yeah, that's the ticket?
The chances of you scoring with the extra man are so slim. It just looks really bad when you're down 3-1 with halfway to go in the second period, then you give up an empty netter.
Well, that's the problem. You give up the empty netter, and the game ends
Right.
in the second period instead of with 2 minutes to go in the third period, and that's the thought process behind it.
What some coaches do, which I think is really interesting, is here's a shot for red, blocked, and eventually saved by the netminder. What some coaches like to do is with under 10 seconds to go in the period and the face-off deep at the other end of the ice, they pull the netminder, and you have the extra man on the face-off.
Right.
It's very risky, but you can almost understand why they do it sometimes.
I get that. Remember, I'm the aggressive coach that wants to change the game a bit.
And I agree with, because the chances of them winning that face-off, having enough time to shoot at the other end, and capitalizing on that opportunity are slim to none.
Well, without getting crunched by one of those 6 players.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only way to really do it, like let's say you pull the netminder and the opposing team wins the face-off. You got to win the face-off to the corner, and the defenseman has to score from the corner all the way to the other end. Otherwise, it's an icing.
Well, and they have those plays set up, tic-tac-toe behind the face-off circle in your own zone for a long shot like that.
Right. I mean, you'll never see it done at the NHL. Only time it would be done at the NHL level is if there's under 5 seconds to go in the period. Even then, there would be some calls on Twitter for the coaches firing. But yeah, at the younger levels, you see that shot and a goal, but it's too little, too late.
Well, maybe not. Now 5-2. Now they're back within field goal range with 12 minutes, or almost 13 minutes to go. So you got to score 3 goals in 12, let's say 12 minutes. So you got to get a goal every 4 minutes, including maybe a power where you pull a goalie.
The key is to get it to a 1-goal deficit
Right.
with under 2 minutes to go. Then
Right.
anything can happen.
And that's what they're talking about. So they got to score 2 goals, let's say within 10 minutes. You can get a goal every 5 minutes. I mean, that shot went in. Why not?
It was a beautiful shot, nonetheless, by Lonnie Land.
This makes it a little bit more exciting.
As it's over to the blue line, sending it into the zone. And here's a chance at the blue line, and gloved and covered up well by the netminder and Mason Stevens.
And we're going to get another face-off.
Cooper Dorovich.
Shots on goal, 23 for red and 24 for blue. The problem, of course, is 5 of those 24 went in.
I don't even know this song.
Really?
What was it?
I don't know the name of it, but I hear it a lot.
Out to the corner. Well, if you're red team, you got to score in the next 3 to 5 minutes to make things interesting.
I think that was a Dua Lipa song. I don't know the name of it.
That's probably why I don't hate Dua Lipa. I just don't know her stuff that well.
No, she's got lots of stuff to know.
Man's with it. That shot. Tried to go 5-hole, and the opposing netminder and Mason Stevens said, I don't think so. How about this? We're evened up at shots on goal, 24 apiece.
Yes, something. And of course, 3 more have gone in for the blue team. But yeah. So I mean, sometimes hockey is you get some breaks like that shot off the back wall that bounced in, right? So maybe the game is more even than we think, but the score is lopsided.
Don't go anywhere. The postgame show brought to you by Plato's Closet of Batavia is coming up next.
We get to hear Kara again.
Yeah. One of the best in the business.
Yeah, we like it. Yeah, we like it when she does interviews for us.
And try to get it in stride and does. Here we go. 2-on-1. Backhanded. Didn't get much on it.
Yeah, the pass needed to have more pace to it.
That was a weak pass. Weak sauce. Out behind the net, 2 Red players around it. And this is something that Red's got to work on. 2 players both went after the guy behind the net instead of one guy taking up his passing lane, taking it away.
Well, I think if they were to continue to play together, they would work that through.
Right.
You know, in familiarity here still.
And offside was Blue. What did Red not do so well today besides the goaltending be a little suspect?
Well, obviously defense. I mean, they needed to push the shots out further so that, it was easier to save, and don't let anything, rebound control. And it doesn't take much. We're talking 3 goals, but there's like 3 accidents that go in. But for sure, push the shots further away from the net, and then rebound control.
Gruden's pass and shot attempt by Teichman was blocked by Red, and over to Red now as it's played by Bleskovich. Past the blue line. Now Petz with it. A couple of nice moves in front of the netminder.
So you don't want the penetration from those outside players. You got to just truly stay between him and the net. Don't let, like here, he's getting around him. Don't let that happen. Keep him to the outside.
Play the body, not the puck, right? You play the puck against all-stars, they're going to just skate right by you.
Yeah, there's a lot of poke checking, and, it's not as safe as a body check.
Plus, if you go too fast with that stick, you catch the skate, and that's tripping.
That is true.
2-on-2 now for Red. They got to score quickly. Time running out.
Looking for an open guy. There it is.
There he is. Shot save. And a big one by Stevens. To the end line as it's sent off the boards. And then back over to neutral ice. At the blue line, chance, Teichman. And that's still in play. It did not stay on the net. And now out to the corner. That might be holding the stick, and I'm surprised they didn't call it. In a regulation game or postseason game, that'd probably be called. Meanwhile, it was almost an own goal, and that was a heads-up play. See if the netminder's paying attention. And he was, luckily for Red, and we'll have a face-off at 9:06.
Well, Wybenga was sitting on the far side of that net. If that play got through, and now it was, like you said, the saucer pass, so it was in the air, right? So it would have been hard to pull out of midair, baseball batted into the net, right? And then it deflected out of the defense, like you said, it was almost an own goal. Yeah. But I like that, threw it across the goal mouth, and stuff can happen.
Yeah.
But they got to...
I think he actually was aiming towards the skate and see if it goes off the skate into the net.
It is possible he was. I mean, it did have that look to it, but there, Wybenga was on the other side of the net also waiting for the puck. So it's hard to say which he had in mind.
This time it's fed over to Settles.
Depending on who we interview later, Kara can ask him that.
Harper lost it.
Harper did lose it.
First 2 games were really exciting, and last 2 games not so much. You had one job, 16U and 18U All-Stars, and you kind of blew it. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, not every game's going to go to overtime, obviously.
Well, 2 out of 4 is pretty high percentage.
I mean, the first 2. I mean, and the first one went to a shootout.
Yeah, so we got to see a shootout win. We got to see an overtime actual win, 3-on-3, and 2 games that didn't get to overtime. But we got to see also a goalie getting pulled. I mean, we've seen just about everything when you think about it.
Yeah.
I like this family pack. You were talking about it earlier, the Chicago Steel for $60. Get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 chips, sodas and waters, and get to chuck some pucks.
Off the boards. Chance now for Red.
My family of 4 is all across the country, so I could never get them together for something like that.
Good job staying on side by New Ends. Tied up, and sandwich into the board was Harper. Picked up now by Blue. Past the center line, and then checked hard into the boards.
That's a nice check and steal.
Yeah, losing the puck was Abram. Now past the blue line. Here comes Joy.
You got to like that name.
And being in the All-Star game, I'm sure his parents are very joyful today.
They're full of joy, I think you meant to say.
Half hill. Nice toe drag. Chance for Red. Loose
It's
pocket
in.
scores. How about that? Things getting a little interesting now.
See, 5-3. That to me was a little bit lazy on defense, but 5-3 now.
Yeah, things getting interesting now. Chance for blue and backhanded, and excellent job playing it from behind by Sam Battaglia.
So there's plenty of time to get one more goal, plus a real opportunity to pull the goalie again. You can see there's a little bit of a jump or skipping the step now of the red team.
Out to the slot. At the blue line, picked up by red. And goes under the 5-hole of his teammate in Jason Gongol. Over to the corner. Tapped off the boards. After it is Deegan. Up in the air. Now played by Blues' Brady Ballets. Well, at least it's a close game now, but still a lot of work to be done for red.
Yeah, it's odd. It was like a blowout game the whole time, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. It's a really nice move to get around the defense, and a very nice move to poke that in.
Yeah, at the same time, Stevens, if you're going to go all out like that, he tried to poke it with the stick. I would just go all out with the glove and try to freeze it. He was in an odd man's. He was in a tough spot to go out with the stick with like that. Instead of going out with the glove, he went with the stick, not able to get a piece of it, and it was an easy move and a pass out in front, and then finished in the crease.
Well, exactly. I mean, you either have to stay in the net or be more aggressive on coming out. Interesting, you thought he should have gone out with the glove. I thought maybe he could have poke checked it with the stick by going all out with it, but he didn't. And left a wide open net for it to get poked into. Needed a little bit more interference from his defender on the other side.
Out at neutral ice on the backhand.
Notice I said a little bit of interference, a lot of bit of interference, and be a penalty. But anything better than that goal.
Out in front, he had the open man, just couldn't get it that time to Bader.
So even when you're 18, you don't always pass the puck to your teammate's stick.
Now here comes Denny.
But you want to leave the stick on the ice to make a target.
Off the stick and played by Stevens. Red team needs to score ideally in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Kraus trying to get it back.
Well, I'm happy even if they're down by 2 and we see a goalie pull. I just always love to see goalies get pulled.
Denny with it. Denny trying to get it back. Bouncing off the boards. And how big was that goal to make it 5-1? Otherwise, we'd have ourselves a heck of a hockey game now. You don't think every goal matters until it does.
Oh, yeah, you do, right?
On June 26th here at the Fox Valley Ice Arena, check out the best part of hockey with Grant Fuhrer. Tickets on sale now. He looks good, man. Looks like he could still play.
It does, doesn't it?
Out in front, trying to get the shot on that. Red still playing hard. The pressure is there. Can they maintain it and score?
Well, I think they're playing harder. I think they're, like I said, they're skipping their step trying to potentially tie this game up. It seems like a surmountable challenge as opposed to a non-surmountable challenge.
Well, they were down 4 goals. Scoring the first 2 goals is a lot easier than the last 2, in my opinion.
Well, probably
that shot
so.
Goes top shelf with it. There's that Karen we were talking about.
Yeah.
Just goes straight back in play.
Yeah, it's a very inconsistent board play behind the goal nets.
And I mean, I'm not used to it. I'm sure these goalies aren't.
Well, and the home teams are used to it.
Right. But the thing is, partner, I mean, these players come from all over, and when they play in the CSDHL league, I mean, they've got the Palm Beach Breakers, and they got teams from Littleton, Colorado.
Yeah,
so.
well, I don't mean the CSDHL teams. I mean like the Steel themselves would be the home team here. They would know the Karams off the board
well, I'm
behind
just
the
saying,
net.
like, so the Cyclones play here. So the Cyclones know every advantage, but even the local teams, they don't play here that much. Here's Falks, and his shot wide. And I mean, if Red could score in the next minute or two, it could possibly happen in terms of the comeback. Past the red line, past the blue line. That shot by Scavone up in the air and then tapped over. Was he trying to pass it? That's a goal, and that'll do it. Jordan Speh with a wicked hard slapper, and it's all over but the crying. Blue team's going to win.
Yeah, it was a great shot, upper right corner into the net. Clearly the goalie was screened or he would have made an easy save, but that's what happens when the goalie's screened and doesn't see it, and it's a perfect shot into the perfect spot. So Red down by 3 with 3 minutes, 26 seconds ago. I don't want to say that's all she wrote, but it's probably all she wrote. We won't see a goalie pull now unless they get a quick goal.
I mean, it was a valiant effort today by the red team, but they just could not get it done as that face-off won by blue. So the final tally, unless red or blue score one more goal, 2 goals for Karinsky, and for red, nobody scored more than 1. I mean, it was pretty even. I mean, it was team hockey most of the day. Besides Karinsky scoring 2 goals, we talked to Drew McLean, who had 2 goals, a goal and 2 assists. It's been pretty much a team effort in terms of who's scoring the goals today.
Well, and you would expect that, too, where everybody is an all-star also. They're all a cut above, and they play together. And I can only imagine how good these teams would be if they played together a whole season against some other teams.
At the face-off circle, now to the corner, and then taking it himself. Backhanded pass. And down by 3, highly doubtful they're going to pull the goalie now.
Yeah, no, nobody does then. It's sad. I like to watch that.
Well, you could, I guess. You don't have to worry about betting odds. All right, there's no betting odds on 18U CSDHL All-Star Game Hockey. You pick the over or the under. Or it's always interesting, things like that. I always like watching on SportsCenter bad beats. But at the same time, like, who is betting on San Diego State against San Jose State? Like, who are these people? I want to meet them.
Do you?
Like, but he'll show a bad beat from everything. He'll show, like, Marshall, here's a chance. Blue shoots, he scores. How about that feed in front? Feed the young man, because he's good and he's hungry.
The football score now, 7-3. I think you can say it's over.
It was a blowout today, all blue. Just beat his man to the place and the spot on the ice and able to score. Just not enough defense that time from Lonnie Land, who scored earlier in the game. And that is impressive, partner. They've scored 7 goals, but only 1 guy has scored more than once. It's not just you're winning the game, but everybody's contributing.
Yeah, it's like the receivers, right? You throw into 5 different receivers, right? 30 or 9 different receivers. That's a lot of goals, and like you said, 6 different players scored those 7 goals.
I mean, not that it's not. Okay, here we go. Chance for
over.
blue again. Shot, tried to go top shelf, too much on it.
Yeah, better play to the whistle, otherwise it'll be 8-3.
So for people that aren't familiar with what we do at Sports Broadcast Solutions, check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. We broadcast hockey, of course, but every sporting event. As Cavazos, who's had a very light day today, but he did score 5 goals in the postseason coming into this one. So they shut down Cavazos, but they couldn't shut down everybody else. That shot.
I like it. A minute to go with a big lead. They're still hustling their tails off.
Well, they only play in the All-Star game once, and if they're 18, this is it. They can play college puck, but just not the same as playing travel hockey.
I would love to know where these players are going to go play hockey, and a lot of them will in college. I mean, this isn't going to be last we see of many of them.
And it's 18U, so there's some 17U players that have 1 more year left.
Right.
Lonnie Land. Lonnie. Pass. As he was trying to feed at that time to Liam Lakochoy. And big thank you to the CSDHL for having us out here.
Yeah, this has been fun. We hope to be back, of course.
Yeah, we'd love to do some more postseason games for the CSDHL, so we'll keep in touch with them.
And the Steel did a great job, the TD, the camera people, the production crew. It's been fun for us to be able to use most of their equipment.
Face-off coming up. Uh-oh.
I'm fine.
Six seconds left in the game. Bob Vilsoe ends the broadcast with a big thud. You all right?
Over. Oh, I'm fine.
Next time when you're going to do that, let me know so I can get my phone out to record it first.
That's how TikToks are made.
For now, I mean, they might not be in the country much longer.
Yeah, that'll be a mistake.
That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, another game, right?
SBS After Dark.
And probably not while it's being recorded on the air. So final score is 7-3, a field goal against a touchdown. It's like taking a knife to a gun battle, right? Just lost by a lot. 7-3 final.
Things got interesting. It was 5-1. They scored a couple of goals, and then blue team, they went back to doing what blue team does, just continuing that forecheck pressure, excellent shooting, excellent passing. Red team had no answer for it.
Looking at the shots on goal, also 28-26. So the team that scored 4 more goals only shot the puck on net twice more. So I'm thinking the game was a lot closer than maybe the bounces alluded to. So sometimes the puck just takes funny hops and different deflections, and even if you play well enough to win, sometimes you just don't.
All right, so Carolentz will get our SBS player of the game. It'll most likely be Cooper Karinsky, who scored twice today for Blue. The 3 stars of the game brought to you by Plato's Closet of Batavia. It's got to be all blue. It was all blue in this, so I'm picking all 3 blue players. I go Cooper Karinsky as my number 1 star. Number 2, I will go with Owen Gruden. He had an assist, and he was 5 of 8 on the faceoffs. And my 3rd star, such a cool name, I'm going to go with Nathan Wybanga.
There it is.
Who are your 3 stars today?
Yeah, I still pick Battaglia from Red, but Cooper Karinsky, of course, number 1 star, and Kyle Hogan, the goalie for the first half of the game, 2nd star.
All right, we're going to take a break. Post-game show coming up next, brought to you by Bruns & Bruns Accounting Services.
Plato's Closet has athletic wear from all the top brands. Joggers, anyone? Our prices will get you moving, and we'll pay cash for your stuff. Buy and sell right here at Plato's Closet.
To the city that invented the skyscraper, reverse the flow of a river. Properties, Christie's International Real Estate.
All runners are different, and we're here for everyone. The beginners, everydayers, once-in-a-whilers, the treadmillers, track goers, and trailblazers. For every mile, marathon, stretch, and stride, we're here for gearing up and having fun. All the ways you run, all budgets, all at Academy. Have fun out there.
Plato's Closet has athletic wear from all the top brands. Joggers, anyone? Our prices will get you moving, and we'll pay cash for your stuff. Buy and sell right here at Plato's Closet.
...2010. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final is taking place between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Philadelphia Flyers. They'll still have to win at Game 7 in Chicago. It's a 3-3 tie in the first overtime, meaning this has been a moderate offensive explosion with some decent defense and goaltending squeeze in between this hockey contest. This is a huge game for Blackhawks fans, as their favorite hockey team has been a laughingstock in the Western Conference for most of the previous decade. For the Flyers, they're looking to bring back Stanley Cup glory to the city of brotherly love for the first time since the 1970s. To truly understand the importance of what happens next, we need to hit that left button on the VCR. In other words, we need to rewind. The Blackhawks are an overtime goal away from cementing their legacy in NHL history. But for a franchise who used to not even televise its home games, this seemed like a pipe dream even 5 years ago. Known for his severe cheapness, Blackhawks former owner Bill Wirtz decided to cancel all home broadcast agreements with network and cable television outlets in 1992. According to Wirtz and the Wirtz Corporation as a whole, home broadcasts were, quote, unfair to the team's season ticket holders, unquote. And as crazy as this decision was by Wirtz, fan attendance increased during the mid-1990s. Incredibly, without normal home broadcasts and overall television brand awareness about the team, the Hawks averaged over 19,300 fans during the mid-1990s at the United Center. This is how it worked. WGN and other media outlets couldn't broadcast the Blackhawks games at the United Center. But if a national broadcasting network such as ESPN decided to telecast the game, a Blackhawk fan could purchase HawkVision, a subscription network worth $29.99 per month. Then you could watch the ESPN broadcast of Blackhawks vs. Red Wings at the United Center on normal cable television. It was pretty confusing, to be sure, and as you know, the internet wasn't big back then. If you were a big hockey fan and wanted to know about the Blackhawks, you either had to go to the game or wait for the hockey highlight on SportsCenter. Even then, hockey coverage wasn't big on ESPN, so it was in your best interest to purchase a ticket at the UC. So the fans kept supporting the Blackhawks even though they couldn't watch their favorite team on TV. However, the product on the ice wasn't so great. As if it were a curse from the hockey gods, the Hawks kept finding different ways to choke in the playoffs. An original six team, the Hawks were at one time the second most cursed original six franchise. The New York Rangers went titleless from 1940 until 1994, and the Hawks now find themselves in the same place as the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs and the Hawks have not hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup since the 1960s decade. For the Hawks, it's been even worse. They haven't won it all since 1961, and before that, Chicago went 23 years without hoisting the Cup. The Maple Leafs have been a borderline disaster since 1967, but at least the Leafs were a dynasty in the 60s. The Hawks were lucky to even win the 1961 Stanley Cup. So yeah, the Hawks have pretty much been mediocre or worse since 1961. However, there were moments when the franchise seemed destined for championship glory. The worst moment for Chicago hockey fans was the 1971 Stanley Cup Final against the hated Montreal Canadiens. Without air conditioning at Old Chicago Stadium, the Hawks were the home team during Game 7 of the Finals against the Canadiens. Jumping out to an early 2-0 lead, legendary netminder Tony Esposito couldn't stop Jacques Lamar's 60-foot-away snapshot, giving the Canadiens their first goal of the contest. Chicago Tribune writer Bob Verdi said there was a humid haze hung over the ice, but Esposito refused to blame the rink's lack of air conditioning on the soft goal he gave up. He had a point, since Lamar's shot was nearly from the center line. The Canadiens never looked back and scored twice more to upset the Hawks and win 3-2 on Chicago's home ice. Since then, the Hawks have never been closer to winning the Cup as they were that day in 1971. That is, until tonight anyway. As painful as it was in 1971, Hawks fans who were still alive in 1992 had to be devastated at what happened next to Ed Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Incredibly, Eddie the Eagle Belfour and Dominik the Dominator Hasek were both on the Blackhawks at the same time. Two future Hall of Fame goalies were both on the Hawks, and yet the franchise still couldn't win a Stanley Cup with either netminder. Belfour was the starter during the brief Belfour-Hasek years. The Hawks made the 1992 Stanley Cup championship round with Belfour and Hasek both on the roster. It was also a Chicago team with Chris Chelios leading the defensemen, and forward Jeremy Roenick was on this Hawks team as well. Led by captain Dirk Graham, the Hawks went on a very impressive winning streak in the playoffs. After falling to a 2-1 series deficit to the St. Louis Blues, the Hawks won their next 3 games against the Blues, as well as back-to-back series sweeps against the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. Just like that, 11 consecutive victories saw the Blackhawks 4 wins away from ending up as the last team standing. The only team in their proverbial way, the NHL's version of the Super Mario Brothers, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr. The Pittsburgh Penguins were the defending Cup champions, and after narrowly beating the Washington Capitals in Game 7 during Round 1, the Pens found their way in the finals thanks to winning 8 of their last 10 games. Hasek was probably Chicago's better goalie entering the playoffs, as the Dominator earned all rookie honors and went 10-4-1 during his 15 starts between the pipes. Between a contract holdout from Belfour and Crazy Eddie missing games this season due to personal reasons, Hasek was turning into a fan favorite, while Belfour was the more controversial choice at net. However, head coach and general manager Mike Keenan stuck with Belfour throughout the playoffs. He turned out to be the best goaltender in the postseason, not named Tom Barrasso. The problem is Barrasso plays for Pittsburgh, so it was up to Roenick and company to find consistent offense against the Eastern Conference's best goalie. It looked like the Hawks had the Pens right where they wanted them when they took a 4-1 lead during Game 1. But the hockey gods haven't liked Chicago since 1961. Whenever the Hawks can blow a postseason lead during crunch time, they like to do it. The Pens scored 4 unanswered goals on their home ice, including the game winner with just 13 seconds left in OT. A crushing 5-4 loss for the Hawks, and they never rebounded from it. It was a sweep for the Pens as the Penguins celebrated their championship victory at Chicago Stadium. Hasek even showed during the series that he still had some raw rookie moments, but Belfour clearly wasn't himself. Hasek subbed in for Belfour in Game 4 after Eddie the Eagle gave up 2 goals on just 4 shots on goal. Keenan had a tough decision to make between keeping Hasek and Belfour, but with Belfour 1 year removed from winning the Vezina and Williams M. Jennings trophies for best goalie, Keenan had no choice but to allow Hasek to become expendable. The Sabres then cashed in on the young goalie's athleticism by fleecing the Hawks with a terrible trade request. The Sabres received a future Hall of Famer in Hasek, and the Blackhawks received just future draft considerations and a goalie in Stefan Beauregard, who never played a single minute in the goalie crease. The future draft considerations eventually led to the Hawks drafting Eric Daze in the 4th round. Daze became an all-star left winger, but serious back and herniated disc issues saw the team's promising winger limited to just 74 games in 3 seasons after his all-star game appearance in 2002. He retired after playing just 1 game in 2005. That being said, Keenan didn't want there to be a locker room controversy between Hasek and Belfour, and it's easy to say in hindsight when no one knew how great Hasek would become. Unfortunately, Belfour wouldn't even finish his career in Chicago. The Hawks were worried that he wouldn't re-sign with the team, so they shipped him off to San Jose for 3 players I personally never heard of until I Googled them. Ulf Dahlin, Michael Sikora, and Chris Terreri. Terreri was put in the very tough position of trying to fill Belfour's shoes in net, and he never got close to reaching Belfour's milestone achievements. Blackhawk fans kept asking themselves, is this team cursed? The 1999 Stanley Cup Final pitted Belfour against Hasek as the Dallas Stars took on the Buffalo Sabres. Belfour eventually won the cup over Hasek in the series, although Hasek won more cups than the Eagle once he began playing for the Red Wings. The Blackhawks managed just 1 more Western Conference Finals appearance with Belfour in net, and they wouldn't get back to the Western Conference Finals until last season. No one ever wishes someone to die, but success seemed to reach the Blackhawks once Bill Wirtz passed away from complications of cancer on September 26, 2007. His son, Rocky Wirtz, took over the team, and during their first season with Rocky as the CEO, the Hawks finished above 500 for the first time in 6 years. With John McDonough as the president and Joel Quenneville as the head coach, the Hawks made it back to the playoffs and finished in the Final Four. The Red Wings once again got in their way and easily took care of the Hawks 4-1 during the 2009 Western Conference Finals. Entering the 2009-10 season, the Hawks decided they need a veteran forward who could score goals and match up against their biggest rival, the Detroit Red Wings. Marian Hossa signed with the Blackhawks, giving the Hawks a formidable 1-2-3 punch on line 1 on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Marian Hossa. That is, if they ever needed to use all 3 guys on the power play. The Hawks were a tough team to beat in 2010, and they finished just 1 point shy of the Western Conference leading Sharks, but the Hawks were the better team in the Western Conference Finals and swept the Sharks to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. Their opponent was an unlikely one, the Philadelphia Flyers. Entering the playoffs as a 7th seed, the Flyers had little title aspirations, but after the top-seeded Capitals were stunned in round 1 to the 8th-seeded Canadiens, there was new hope in Philly. The Flyers looked dead in the water when they trailed 3-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, but Simon Gagne returned for Game 4, and they definitely needed him as Gagne scored in overtime to force a Game 5. Brian Boucher was excellent as the Flyers starting goalie during Game 5, but he had to leave the game early due to knee injuries. As such, Michael Layton finished off Game 5 as the Flyers' new goalie and preserved the 4-0 shutout. Layton then got the start in Game 6 as expected, and he made the most of his opportunity by being perfect through 59 minutes until the Boston Bruins scored late. It was still a 2-1 win for the Flyers, and wouldn't you know it, the Flyers had a chance to win Game 7 and come back from an insurmountable 3-0 deficit. The Bruins actually led 3-0 in Game 7 at the TD Garden in Boston, but they simply couldn't avoid a significantly embarrassing collapse. James Van Riemsdyk, who didn't score a single goal in the playoffs prior to tonight, netted a very important goal late in the first period to give his teammates new life and ending the shutout attempt. The Flyers then scored 3 more unanswered goals to win a surprising 4-3 Game 7 over the Bruins, becoming just the 3rd team in NHL history to come back from a 3-0 series deficit. In fact, this had only been done once in any other American professional sport besides hockey. The Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Yankees 4-3 during the 2004 American League Championship Series. And now the Flyers are back in the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 1997, looking for their first championship since 1975. The 1997 Stanley Cup Final was very interesting since it pitted the Flyers against the Red Wings, with both teams being in the Eastern Time Zone. The Flyers got swept in that series, with fans questioning if the franchise made the right decision all those years ago when they traded for former #1 overall draft pick Eric Lindros. Lindros scored just once in that series against the Red Wings, and it cost the Flyers a lot just to acquire him. They sent the Quebec Nordiques 6 players, 2 first-round picks, and $15 million in cash for only Lindros. The Nordiques eventually moved to Colorado, with the future Hall of Famer in Forsberg helping the Colorado Avalanche win 2 Stanley Cup titles. What did Lindros contribute? Just 1 goal in his lone Stanley Cup final, and his constant bad luck of suffering concussions, he suffered 4 during his career in Philly, inevitably led to him being traded to the New York Rangers. In a weird twist of fate, the Rangers tried to trade for Lindros, which would have included goalie Mike Richter. Richter was huge down the stretch for the Rangers during the 1994 Stanley Cup Final, which they won, so Rangers fans are probably very happy with the trade with Philly that was finalized prior to the Rangers calling up the Nordiques. But the Flyers are finally back in the Stanley Cup Final, in large part due to the Flyers getting defenseman Chris Pronger in another blockbuster deal with Anaheim. It cost Philly 2 players and 2 first-round picks. History tells us that the Flyers love sacrificing the future for winning now, but this time around, it has paid its dividends in a big way. Pronger's 14 playoffs assists have allowed the Flyers to be 1 goal away from forcing a Game 7 in Chicago, their closest to a title in 35 years. The trade for Pronger was definitely an immediate success. Layton's 3 shutouts in the Eastern Conference Finals prove that he deserves to be in the league, but is he a franchise goalie? Not so much. One of the reasons that the Blackhawks are a goal away from the title is Layton can't recreate his magic from the previous round. In fact, Boucher relieved him in Game 2 and Game 5 due to erratic play, but head coach Peter Laviolette decided to stick with Layton in this pivotal Game 6. And to be honest, the Flyers felt comfortable about tonight. Both of their wins in the series were at home, and with the Hawks being led by 2 players under the age of 25 in Kane and Taves, they don't have a lot of experience in this pressure situation. It's up to former #1 overall draft pick Patrick Kane and Captain Taves to finish off the Flyers. Otherwise, it's back to Chicago for a winner-go-home Game 7, and Blackhawk fans know all too well how that panned out back in '71. And remind their fans of Broad Street Bullies who won back-to-back cups in the '70s. Or will the Blackhawks finally appease the hockey gods and give their fans a much-deserved championship? It's golden goal format, and Patrick Kane has the puck deep in the Flyers' end. Welcome to a moment. Thanks for watching our NHL version of Rewinder. Make sure to comment below and subscribe to Sports Broadcast Solutions.